Good morning and welcome to the morning show here on Dickson County Radio. Today is Saturday, July the 25th. We're right in the middle of election season. We're actually right in the middle of early voting, so we've got one more week of early voting. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, but election season is finally coming to an end. We started back in January interviewing different candidates. I think we're close to 20 different candidates that we've had on the show. Everything from county mayor, state representative. We even had somebody from U.S. Congress running last week. School board, county commission, just about everything. But we are so excited. We have an interview this morning, another political interview. We got a few more before we sort of wrap up this series. Joey Wenck is with us this morning. Joey, first off, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you, Justin?
Doing great, man. I always love interviewing somebody that I've known pretty much my whole life and been friends with for a long time. So I appreciate you coming in this morning to talk a little bit about early voting with us, because that's what's on everybody's mind right now, right? You're driving through town, you're looking over at the library, you see all the signs. I don't know about you, but my wife looks at me yesterday. She goes, I don't know if I like all them signs over there. And
it's a lot.
I know. And I'm like, Nikki, I get it. It doesn't look the best, but people got to get their message out. How else are they supposed to do it? They've contained it to one little area. But when you drive by the library and you see all those signs, you know what time it is. It's time to vote. And so early voting has been open now for a few days. And I guess we'll take just a moment here. Kind of go over some of the early voting numbers. We have the first few days here. So early voting began back on July the 17th, which was a Friday. 495 people, Joey, went out and voted that first day. Huge number.
It's my understanding that they were looking at that maybe even being a record high.
Yes.
I don't know what the final was.
I never heard for sure, but Liz Littleton, who's the elections administrator, I think somebody sent her a message. I didn't want to duplicate it, but I was curious too. And somebody sent her a message. I haven't heard back yet, but that was a huge number. Yeah. Huge number. Almost 500 the first day. Okay. And so, which that was a full day of voting. And then the second day was Saturday. 160 voted. Of course, it was only open for like 3 or 4 hours.
Half a day.
Yeah, half a day.
Not even half a day.
Not even half a day. 160 people came out on that Saturday. All right, and then this week we've got the numbers through Thursday. So let's go over those real quick. Monday, 420. Tuesday, 396. Wednesday, 383. Thursday, 464. So Thursday was a really big day. Now, I do want to mention Thursday was the later day. So early voting is open during the week from 8:30 to 3:30. So that's Monday through Friday, except for Thursday. Thursday is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So that's the day typically you get a lot of people after work.
Correct.
Will swing by and vote. And so that's, I think, why we saw a bigger number yesterday. That's the biggest number since the first day. So lots of people have gone out to vote, over 1,000 people, over 2,000 people actually. If I'm just kind of doing the math in my head right now, but it looks like over 2,000 people have already voted. So I expect that to be a pretty big number. What are your thoughts so far on early voting? What do you think about the turnout anyway?
The turnout's huge. I mean, this is a big election this year for the county. You have a lot of vacant seats. What is there?
I think there's at least half of them that could experience some turnover.
There's 3 vacant seats in the commission. Mm-hmm. The mayor seat's vacant. Opposition in a couple other districts, and with the school board going on. So it's a big election year this year for Dickson. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're we've got some great election night coverage coming up that we're working on. I'll take just a second here to plug that on election night, starting at 6 o'clock and ending at, I guess, maybe 9 or 10 o'clock, just depending on when the last precincts report. We're going to have live coverage for everybody on YouTube through DC TV, and we're really excited about that. We've been working on it for the past few weeks, and I was just kind of sketching out the most competitive races, and it looks like, County Commission District 2, District 3, District 4, very competitive, so we've got some highlight sheets on those with all the candidates and the numbers and everything, so we're really going to be following those. And then District 4 and school board is a competitive race, and of course mayor. We've got 4 candidates for mayor, so there's a lot to bring people out to the polls right now.
Absolutely, and people are getting more involved locally because of this, because they're getting more people out there campaigning. So more people are getting in front of individuals who probably didn't normally follow the local elections.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. We talk about it on this show a lot. People are always engaged in presidential politics, right? Everybody cares about who the president is, and you always have the biggest turnout on those election cycles that involve the president, right? Yep. But then when you really stop and think about it, your vote, you probably have the least effect on the presidential election because so many people across the nation vote in that. But here at home, your little tiny vote, your one little vote means so much because so few people vote. But it's sort of like the psyche is backwards. We pay attention less to the local and focus more on the national when, in my opinion, and I've been arguing this for a couple years on this show, it should be the opposite. We should be way more engaged with the local and definitely care about the national, but understand that that's something that's going on a long way from home.
Absolutely. I mean, the local election is going to affect you right here in your own backyard far more than the further out you go. Not downplaying or saying the federal's not important. It absolutely is important to be involved in every election that we have. But I've met a handful of people that they've straight up just told me they don't care about the local election. They only vote for the presidential.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. And I don't understand that mindset. And I'm hoping maybe one day we can sort of change that. And that's kind of one thing we try to do with the local media here that we provide is just try to get the information out there to people. And I do think we've seen a change over the past couple of years. I don't know if it's because of what we're doing or if it's just the times are changing, but it seems like more people are getting involved. More people are, voting. More people are running. And so you like to see that bit of a change. Anyways.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So early voting is going on still. You can go today, actually, from... is it 8 to 11? Is that right?
Is today 8 to 11?
Let's double check. We don't want to give out bad information, but I believe Saturdays is 8 to 11, if I'm not mistaken. And then during the week, while Joey's double checking me on that, during the week, it is 8:30 to 3:30, except for Thursday. Okay, Thursday is always that long day from 10 a.m. To 6 p.m. And let's see, I think I've got it pulled up right here. Yeah, Saturday, 8 to 11. Yeah. So... yeah, Saturday, 8 to 11. So you've got, 3 hours this morning. This show usually airs at about 10, so you're probably listening to this at 10 o'clock. We do kind of pre-record some of it, but a little bit earlier in the morning. But you will have till 11 today to vote, and then you've got all next week. But next week's the last week. So, and I don't know if you've really broken down the numbers from May or not. I'm sure you probably have. But if you go back and look at the numbers from the primary in May, there were actually more people who voted in early voting than on election day. Did you realize that?
I did.
Yeah, that's a turn. That's a change, a turn in the way that things have gone in the past. Because typically, it's been people voting in early voting, kind of straggling in, and then the big number comes in on election day. But brother, we've sort of switched that now, and more people are going out to early vote. So,
I mean, this early voting so far, the numbers we've had have kind of proven that. I mean, these are large numbers for our district, for our county. And I just hope to see it grow. There's a lot of registered voters that don't get out and vote.
Yeah.
I think the average is like 10% of registered voters actually go vote.
Well, 37,500, and this is just a number I'm throwing off the top of my head. I think this is an estimate. 37,500 people are registered to vote out of roughly 60,000 that live in the county. So a little more than half are registered. And then out of that group, I want to say we'll be lucky. Somebody was telling me the other day we'd be lucky if we got to 10,000. So a third, a fourth of registered voters might come out and vote in this election.
Right.
10,000 sounds like a lot of people, but in comparison to like how many people could vote, it's really not that many.
It's not. And for the primary we had back in May, my district has 3,002, I believe is what my campaign sheet says as far as registered voters in the district. And I think the final total was 296 voted in the primary, somewhere around that number. So
still having a tough time getting people out to vote, even though early voting has, I think, increased a lot of those opportunities. Still not seeing as many people vote they should, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, ideally, it'd be great to see 100% turnout. I know we don't live in an ideal, perfect world ever, but, just getting as close to that number each year, just getting in front of more people, speaking with more people, and just having real organic conversation about how important it is to be a voice in your backyard, in your community.
Absolutely. Well, again, early voting is going on right now. There's actually 2 locations if you want to early vote where you can go. The election office is out in Charlotte. It's right there off the square where the schools are, in that whole little area there. There's a little house. It's located at 110 Academy Street. You can vote there, or you can vote in Dixon at the public library at 303 Hensley Drive. So we want to encourage you to do that. Joey Wenck is my guest today. Joey, tell me which district you're running in.
District 4,
Okay.
County Commission.
Oh, I was going to say District 4, but then sometimes I mess up and say the wrong number because we've got so many numbers. So thank you for mentioning that. So you're running in District 4, and appreciate you coming in today. I want to ask you a few questions about your campaign. But before we do that, let's take a quick commercial break because I have a feeling this will lead into a little bit of a longer conversation, and we need to get our break in before we come back. So let's take a quick commercial break. We'll come back. We'll get Joey to update us on his campaign. Joey was in here back before May, but we haven't talked to him in a while, so we'll see what's going on here in the past few months, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Saturday Morning Show here on. All right, we're back here on the Saturday Morning Show, Dickson County Radio. Appreciate everybody tuning in with us this morning. Of course, Saturday mornings on Dickson County Radio is your place for politics. We always have a different guest who's running for office pretty much every week this year. We've been lucky the past few weeks to have 2 different guests like we do this morning, and just so excited to be able to bring to you directly to the candidates so they can talk to you and let you know about what's going on with their campaign. If you're tuning in just a little bit late, we've got Joey Wenck, who's running for County Commission District 4 with us, and he's talking a little bit about his campaign this morning. We talked basically about early voting in that first segment and just kind of talking about the numbers. Joey, you've been out, different events, I'm sure going door to door, doing all the different things. Talk to me a little bit about how your campaign has evolved. I know you came in here back, I guess it was probably March or April. I don't remember the exact date, but before the May primary, you came in, you talked to us a lot about that and kind of what was going on. But then you've hit the campaign trail all summer. Talk to us a little bit about what you're hearing. What are the big issues that people are bringing up to you? What seems to be firing up the voters right now and getting them out to the polls?
The 2 biggest issues that I've heard people during my conversations have been the roads out in District 4. There are some in disarray of need. There's some that heavier traffic than what they're marked for, and just dangerous intersections, things like that need to be looked over. I'd say the biggest issue, though, is the growth. I mean, growth is going to happen. We can't change it. We can't stop it. You don't want to go backwards. You don't want to decline. But how do you control that growth has been a big question I've been asked. And the farmlands. I mean, District 4 is all farmland area. How do we work with the community to preserve that farmland versus some big developer out of a city who's never going to live here just come in, buy up some vacant farmland and throw up 100 houses? And I wish I had all the correct answers. All I know how to do is do the research and work with the county commission and the mayor and the office to make sure that we're doing their due diligence.
Now, District 4, before we go any further, explain to me exactly where that is in the county for somebody listening who's not putting that together. Where is your district?
So it's kind of the northeast area of the county. So we're just outside the city limits of Charlotte, where St. Paul Road, which is a cut through from Highway 48 north to Highway 49 east. So the north part of St. Paul starts our district, and then you follow 48 all the way to the county line. East side of 48 is District 4. The west side is not. And then as you go up, Petty Road is kind of a back road that the meanders. Part of Petty Road cuts into White Bluff, cuts out of District 4. Part of it's still in District 4, and then the line just goes straight up into the Cheatham County line.
Well, and thank you, because I'm sure people listening, you're talking about rural, when you really think about that area of the county, man, it's very rural. It's not, it's a place with lots, like you said, lots of farms, not a ton of houses, but more houses are getting put up.
Correct.
I guess every day, and I'm sure does that seem to be frustrating the people that live out there already?
The people that are buying 5-10 acre or large tracts of land and building their house and trying to make their dream of being out in the country and doing that country living, that doesn't seem to be bothering people as much as it is the property investors that are coming in and they're wanting to buy 25, 30 acres and try to throw up 20 houses, and build a little subdivision. They're looking at their investment versus us that live in that district. We're looking at, okay, well, what is this adding to traffic flow? Are the roads prepared for this much increase? Is the infrastructure, the water runoff, how's that going to affect, with potholes? I know there's a couple spots I've noticed on Highway 49 that they've got a cone on one of them. that the shoulder of the roads just kind of collapsed in from water runoff. And erosion, I mean, that's just going to happen. But how do we go back forth and fix and protect that in the future?
Well, and Highway 49, which I guess is probably one of the main roads that runs through your district,
Absolutely.
takes you from, I guess, Charlotte to Ashland City. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not a big road. It runs on a ridge. You can't really widen it out. I think some thought really needs to be put into, where we're putting all these homes, and can this geographical area support that? That's one area that I think probably needs to be looked at, because, like I said, there's just so much room there, and just with the way things go, you go back in history, which I'm a history teacher. You go back and look. That's one of the oldest roads in the county. That's connected to very ancient cities. And there's not a lot of ways that you can make it bigger. So it's just some things you got to think about, as far as the different districts and the geography that makes them up, and how much they can handle with the roads. And I think all of that is really on a lot of people's minds right now, because it just seems like the growth is coming at a rate which may be a little too fast for the infrastructure. Is that what you're hearing?
I would say that it's unexpected. It's very evolving, which we're right outside of Nashville. So being that close to the major city, you're going to have that kind of growth. It's just, what can the commissioners and the mayor work together with all the other departments and the state level, and try to help manage that growth responsibly, and make sure that it's done to where it's not going to negatively impact the residents in the area or the residents anywhere else in this county.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's, like you said, that's a very rural area. People out there, mostly farms, and neighborhoods. Maybe things seem a little bit out of place, maybe out there.
Which I've not seen any, like, quote unquote neighborhoods pop up. More so development, just street side development. On some of the other back roads, a couple of the dead end roads are growing a little bit. But that's always that risk. I mean, there's a lot of large farms that, as people get older, some people can't physically handle the farm anymore. Mm-hmm. They pass it down to their family. Does the family want to continue farming? What is their goal? We want to make sure that we're protecting our residents, as well as, not depriving the people who grew up here from being able to invest their land where they want to put it.
Absolutely. We got a song that we play here on Dixon County Radio by Hardy called MacArthur. Have you heard this song yet?
I have not.
You need to check it out. We'll play it actually right after the show, and for folks who maybe are interested. But it's a song about, and I love country music because country music tells a story, right?
Correct.
And so this song, it features Hardy and a couple other artists, and I apologize for not knowing each artist, but it's a brand new song. It's only been out a few weeks, and this whole story is about keeping land so that you can pass it down to the next guy, and it goes through the generations of the guy who started the farm and inherited the land, and the guy who worked the land, and then it goes to like the younger guy who decides to sell it all off. And it's just a fantastic story. Country music is just beautiful to me, and the stories that are told through music. But that one really hit me because it kind of encompasses what's going on right now, right here at home, with people sort of, in the song he talks about how he just doesn't want to be a farmer. He wants to go do other things, and so he has to do something with his land, and he sells it off, and he ends up regretting it in the end, because that was his legacy that he gave away. And it just kind of hit me, and I thought about it, and we play a lot of music on this show, and it sounds kind of relevant, but it just made me think of that song. And once you sell it, you can't get it back. That's sort of the moral of the song. Once you sell it, you can't get it back. So people just need to think about that. And I know people have different different things they want to achieve and different things they want to do in life, but land is a big deal to people around here, especially in Dixon County, especially out in District 4. And to see a lot of that land, leaving those traditional families and going into developments, I think is one of the bigger issues right now. And I think that song sort of encompasses it. But anyway, is there any other things besides growth? I think we've kind of hit that one. Is there anything else you're hearing out on the campaign trail when you're going to talk to these people? Is there any other big issues that they're mentioning?
Those are the biggest one. I mean, obviously the biggest issue going on right now, I think, that's not going to affect the county level as much as the state level, is all the sober living recovery going on in Dixon. That's a huge issue everybody talks about, and I've encouraged everybody that after this election process is through in November to reach out to your state reps, and it's got to start at the state level, and maybe even up to the federal level, county commission, county mayors, city councilmen, their hands are tied and stuff on what can and cannot be done with that. So, I mean, I would say Dixon County as a whole, that's the number one issue I've heard about, and I've tried to educate and direct people to the right channels so that they can see what they can get done.
Absolutely, and that's great that you bring that up, because you do have to think about the different levels and who can help with what, right? Because you've got your county commission seat, which is, I guess, the boots on the ground. They're the closest to you. You know, they're covering just your district. But then you've got the county mayor, who covers everything. And then above that, you've got your state representatives. Some laws are state laws. Some laws are, more local. But working together. I've heard that a lot when I've been out here doing these interviews, is, the different levels of government working together to achieve things, because they all sort of cover something different, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be key, is that, as we're going to have a lot of new community servants that are going to be put into place. And I think it is key that everybody sort of works together to do what's best for Dixon County. So,
absolutely.
Let's go ahead and take another break here. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about early voting, and talk about maybe some of the numbers in the past, and we'll sort of close things out here. I appreciate Joey coming back and hanging out with us one more time here before the election, and kind of getting us updated on everything that's been going on out in District 4. You're listening to the Saturday Morning Show. All right, we're back here on the Saturday Morning Show on Dixon County Radio, and we appreciate everybody tuning in this morning. We've actually seen an influx in the rise in the ratings the past couple of weeks. You can tell it's getting close to election day, because people are really starting to tune in and try to figure out what's going on, and certainly appreciate that. And everybody who's kind of made it a thing on Saturday morning, just to I've talked to a friend the other day, said he gets out every Saturday morning, goes to his garden and works in his garden and listens to the shows. And I appreciate that. It's kind of become a tradition, I guess you could say, around here, that Saturday morning, let's turn on the radio, let's do what we got to do, and let's hear what's going on in our local community and try to stay engaged. And that's our goal, and we appreciate everybody who does that every week. Like I said, we've really seen a rise in the ratings lately, and so we just really appreciate you guys and your support. Joey Wenck is with me this morning. He's running for County Commission in District 4, and Joey, we talked a little bit about early voting and some of the key points of your campaign. As we enter the last segment here and we get ready to close out, is there anything you want to say specifically to the voters while you've got them here? I know you want to encourage them to go early vote, but is there anything else you just want to say to the folks while you got them here?
I mean, just as you said, Justin, encouragement to get out and vote. Whether it's early voting, that ends on August 1st. Election day is Thursday, August 6th. That's your last chance, your last day to voice who you want to see in offices for your district, your county. Highly encourage everybody to do their research, study all the candidates running for every position, and vote on who they feel is going to be the best suiting for that office. I do ask that anybody who is in District 4, or anybody that knows somebody that lives in District 4, please reach out to me. You can call my cell phone. You can email me. I'm on Facebook. Reach out to me. I'll answer any questions that come up, and I will answer them as honestly and wholeheartedly as possible. If it's something that the commission can or cannot do, I'll be open and honest about that and direct you in the right place. But do that homework. I would appreciate every vote that I could get in District 4 and all the support. I feel like I've had a lot of love and support with the people I've spoke with. We've done several meet and greets at the Jackson's Chapel Community Center. This campaign trail has helped me get so much more involved in just my own community and my district. I went out to the Promised Land Music and Arts Festival, got to learn about that. That was nostalgic. I'd never knew about that until I started this campaign and started learning about more of the history. Jackson's Chapel Community Center, I've been attending their monthly meetings, helping them. They're right now in the middle of their annual fundraiser of selling advertisement calendars. Are $50 a piece. Anybody that wants one, I got them at my office.
Nice.
Missionary Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church, last weekend they had their 148th homecoming. Had barbecue chicken and barbecue pork that they stayed out in the pits and cooked all night long. Got to enjoy some good food with some locals, some friends, and some new friends that I've made during that day. So just the community love, the support, the feedback that I'm getting from people, and the overall concern that people are starting to get involved.
Absolutely. And I just want to mention real quick, for anybody who's, listening and like, man, I missed the interview that you did with who's running in my district. Well, we do have a YouTube channel set up we have uploaded all the old interviews. So all the past interviews from the entire year are on our YouTube channel. You just go to YouTube, search up Dickson County Radio, and you'll find our page with our logo. You can go back to listen to Joey's first interview from back in, I think, April. You can listen to, his opponent if you want to, just kind of see the difference between them. You can check out the county mayors. We got an interview from all 6 that were originally in the race, and then all 4 that are still running. We've got interviews from them. And then most of the state representative candidates too. So we've got all that available for you on YouTube. If you're still undecided, if you're still thinking, if you haven't made a decision yet, we do have those interviews for you. And I would suggest maybe go back and watch those and try to make the best decision that you can, because it is very important that everybody goes out and vote. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, we don't have the best turnout around here, and it's kind of like that all over the nation, though. It's not just unique to Dickson County.
Correct.
And if you go back to the 1800s, Joey, because I'm a history nerd, teach history classes, you'll find out that in the 1800s that the voting wasn't 100% either. There's always been a contingent of people in this nation who have just decided not to participate in voting for whatever reason. And, maybe someday we'll shake that. Maybe it's just part of our fabric. I'm not sure, but we do appreciate all the people that do get involved and do decide to go vote, and just want to continue to encourage that. Would you like to give out some of your information for anybody who maybe wanted to ask some follow-up questions to you that's still kind of undecided? How could they get a hold of you if they wanted to ask you a follow-up question, Joey?
Perfect. Thank you, Justin. Obviously, everybody's on social media these days. I'm restricted on my social media. I have Facebook. That's it. So Joey Wenck on Facebook. My cell phone number is 615-557-6964. Please encourage you to send me a text message, and when I'm not at work or I'm not talking to somebody else, I will call you right back. And then also my email is joey.wenck@yahoo.com. That's all the channels I have for communication. I hope that's enough. But if you reach out in any of those fashions, I promise that we will get in contact and have whatever conversation, answer whatever questions you got.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, man, for coming by this morning and talking to me a little bit more and helping me fire the voters up, because, that's kind of what we like to do here is, I kind of made a commitment back in December. I thought real hard about it. I looked at the calendar. I realized how many people were running, and I said, we're going to make the Saturday morning show about politics this year. And in the past, we've interviewed lots of different folks, community leaders, business owners. Love to have business owners on. And, but this year, with it being such a big political year, we've really, tried to kind of get that out there, and, real excited about how it's all going to conclude here on election night. Well, I guess maybe we'll take just a second here to kind of promo the election night coverage. So on election night, which is August the 6th, is that the right date?
Thursday, August 6th.
Thursday, August 6th. So for those of you who have kids, or for those of you who are teachers, that'll be the 4th day of the school year. So we'll go back to school on Monday here in Dickson County for public schools anyway. And we will go back on Monday, and then Thursday night we'll have the election. And Thursday night we're going to have what I believe to be the most comprehensive election night coverage in the history of Dickson County. As far as I know, I've been here my whole life. You correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember a TV station ever doing exclusive Dickson election coverage. We've had radio broadcast, and we've done radio broadcasts here on Dickson County Radio in the past, but I don't recall there ever being an actual TV broadcast that was just Dickson County related. Of course, Nashville does a good job. We love our Nashville stations, but we're going to go live on YouTube, and we've done this for years with football games, but we're going to try to switch it up and do a little something different and do live election coverage. And so we're going to go live at 6 o'clock. The polls close at 7. We're going to be live for at least 3 hours, giving you the results as they come in. We went and talked to Elizabeth Littleton, who's the elections director. I might be getting the title wrong, but she's in charge of elections in Dickson County, whatever the official title is. And we went by and talked to her. She's going to send us the totals as soon as they come in, so you won't be able to find any station that's bringing it to you any faster than what we're going to do. So we're real excited about that. Joey, if you're available that night, if you want to call in, brother, we'd love to have you call in and talk to us. We've got that system worked out so we can take live calls that night from different candidates, different local people who are important to the community. I've reached out to a few. I don't want to say any names yet because I haven't got, confirmation yet, but we're reaching out to several, people that are on the ballot, people who are already in office, other community leaders who maybe are not in elected officials, but they want to maybe call in and talk to us a little bit about Dixon County. So we're just hoping that it ends up being a real big night, and we hope that everybody who's having their election night parties, you know how those go on, that you'll be able to put that on the TV and watch us, and we'll be able to give you that information live. I'm so excited about it, and would love to have as many candidates as we could get to call in. I think that would be great. So if you're up to it, we'd love to have you.
Absolutely. I do know that I will be attending a watch party with one of the other candidates that's running for office, and I'll take a moment to step outside and try to give you a call. And,
yeah.
That way we can just do some live coverage.
I think that'll work pretty good. Yeah, we've thought about this for at least 6 months. We started talking about it 6 months ago, and of course, it takes a lot of preparation, takes a lot of sponsors. We appreciate the sponsors who are stepping up to help us buy the equipment that we need, but it's going to be a big deal, and hopefully it'll kind of change the way elections are covered here in Dixon County, and it'll become a thing, and in the future, DCTV will just be where you go to watch the election coverage. So we're real excited about that, and we appreciate you and all the other candidates who have supported this. Actually, I will say that every candidate that I've reached out to ask, for help with this, about maybe coming on the show or something, every single one has said, yeah, we'll do whatever we can to help, Justin. We love what you're doing. We love that you're trying to put politics out there for folks. It helps what we do, and so we're just really looking forward to this night, and just wanted to take a minute. Appreciate you letting me do this, but just taking a minute on your show here on your episode to kind of talk about that a little bit and kind of pump that up, because I think it's going to be a great election night.
It's going to be a great night. I'm anxious to see the turnout.
Yeah.
We're going to have huge numbers in this county for this year's election. I'd like to see it set the county record with the largest turnout we've ever had, and then maybe next election we can break that one.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be awesome.
That would be fantastic. And, from your mouth to God's ears, hopefully that'll happen. And hopefully we've done our job at least getting the information out there for folks. So one last time before we close out here, I do want to mention the early voting times and locations. So if you do want to early vote, you can do that. So I think I've got the wrong thing here. Let me pull this up. So I know it in my head, but I just want to make sure that I don't repeat the wrong thing. So you can go Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 3:30. And that is at the location in Charlotte, out at the election office, and then in Dixon at the public library. Now, Thursdays are the long day. And as we saw this week, that turned out to be the biggest day of the week. That's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursday. So if you're a working person and you go in and you work from 8 to 5, you're going to have a hard time early voting unless you go on either Thursday or Saturday. Saturday, 8 to 11, they're open today, and they'll be open up one more day next Saturday, which will be the last day of early voting.
Correct.
And then you'll have to wait. If you don't vote before next Saturday, you'll have to wait until Election Day. And then on Election Day, I want to make sure I mention this, because everybody always gets confused. On Election Day, you have to go to your polling precinct place.
Correct.
So my brother is a good example.
To add to that, Justin, for District 4, that is Jackson's Chapel Community Center.
Thank you. And so this can affect you too, because like my brother's a good example. He didn't vote early voting, and then he showed up at the library to try to vote on Election Day, and that was actually not his polling location. So we had to look it up on the phone, and I had to get him over to the other place to vote. So make sure you check on that. Make sure you know where you got to go if you decide to wait on Election Day. But early voting is open right now, and you can do that in Charlotte or Dixon. So Joey Wenck, thank you for coming in this morning, brother.
Justin, thank you for having me.
Thanks, and thanks for always supporting all the things that I do, man. On a personal level, you've always been very supportive of everything that I've ever tried to do as far as media stuff. And I know if I call Joey Wenck that he'll come and jump on my show with me, brother. That means
Absolutely.
a lot to me, and I appreciate you so much.
Well, Justin, when we met, this is what you were doing at the Dixon radio station, and so why not help support your lifelong dream and keep it going?
Thank you, man. A lot of people don't realize that, but when I was 16 years old, I was actually working in the High Cotton building.
Yeah.
Okay, it's High Cotton now, but back in the old days, that was AM 1260 WDKN.
Correct.
And so that was where this all started for me, and you've been there since the beginning, brother, and I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin.
All right, we'll go ahead and close out. Thanks to everybody for tuning in this morning. Make sure you tune in next Saturday morning. It'll be the last Saturday morning before Election Day. And I'm not sure who's going to come on yet. We're going to reach out to some folks. Hopefully we can find some guests. But or who knows? Maybe I'll just go live and just give you a preview to Election Night. So definitely tune in with us next Saturday morning. And definitely tune in with us on Election Night on YouTube, DCTV. Thank you to everyone in Dixon County for the support. Stay tuned to Dixon.